and I still don't have a freaking 1,000 subscribers. What the hell's going on?
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what some hard water did to a big ship, Titanic. And I couldn't think of a joke last minute, so that's what you're getting. Thank you everyone for joining in today. A bit of a different stream, as you can see from the title. Once again, we are talking to somebody who has managed to escape the cult. The cult of stupidity that we like to call the Flat Earth. This is the 8th interview I've done with a Flat Earther. I think the biggest ex-Flat Earther that I've had on it is Ranty, and obviously Seek Truth, Speak Truth. And if you want to check out the previous interviews, then please have a look at the playlist. But today we are speaking to someone who I've seen around in my chat recently, and he's agreed to come on, Promethean Kitchen. Promethean, hello. Thank you for joining. How are you?
Hello, how's it going, Greg? How have you been?
I've been very well, thank you. Very, very happy to hear that someone else has escaped the cult of stupidity. Now, no. So I was talking to you beforehand, and you kind of were telling me, how you got into it. So would you mind just telling everyone here a little bit about yourself and how you came into the Flat Earth?
Well, I came into the Flat Earth like during the COVID lockdown time. I started watching a whole bunch of videos because I had absolutely nothing to do. Like, I'm from Canada. We were completely locked down for 2.5, almost 3 years. And starting in 2019-ish, early 2019. And one of the first videos that I ever watched that kind of introduced me to Flat Earth that I never heard of before was one of Eric Dubé's videos, 200 Proofs or something. And that's the video that got me sucked into it. And I think I watched that around 2019. Like, I had no school, no work, because everything was shut down. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give this a check. Like, I didn't think much of it at first because at the time I wasn't a Flat Earther at the time. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And then after the end, I started thinking about it more, and I started going down other rabbit holes as well, like the moon landing rabbit hole, like to see one of the big things that they liked talking about was like the fake moon landings. And I'm like, what? Like, at the time I never heard of it because I was kind of out of the loop. But I started getting interested in that, and yeah, it just went on from there pretty much. And another video that I watched from Eric Dubé, at least I think it was one of his videos, was The Lost History of Flat Earth, which is like 5, almost 6 hours, and Greg needs to do a debunking video on that 5-6 hour thing, because it's another video that also got me into it, because after you watch it, you're like, what?
Yeah. A lot of people have mentioned that one to me, yeah.
Yeah. It was like that video and 200 proofs got me into it.
So, would you say it was the kind of isolation from COVID that was the reason you spent so much time looking into this?
Yes, definitely, absolutely. Because I think that it's the case for, like, for me, like I explained to you before the interview, like I'm one of those flat earthers that never made any content or anything. I just watched everyone else's content, like Flat Earth Dave, John Levy, sometimes Flat Earth British. I'm sure you're familiar with,
Yes.
and some of those guys. Like I watched quite a bit of their content because I had nothing else better to do because we were shut down for a couple of years. And yes, I do think that is the cause because in some areas it was harder than others. And I think that's when the whole flat earth craze really started because it only started getting popular like around 2018, 2019. But the majority, I think, are like me and started in 2019 at the height of it. At least that's what I believe, anyway.
It does seem that that was a when a large influx of new flat earthers came in was around the time of COVID. And I think it is very similar to you, the isolation of COVID, the being locked inside. Um, uh, do you feel like Flat Earth gave you a community at a time you didn't really have one?
Yes, definitely, because at that time I could not go to church because I was involved in my Catholic church community and stuff for a very long time. So I had loads of other stuff to do. So I never really cared or paid attention to Flat Earth until COVID. So yeah, I think that was a huge part of it, definitely.
Right. And once you were in the flat earth, you mentioned that you then went into other rabbit holes like the moon landing denial, stuff like that. Is
Yeah, I went down other rabbit holes too, like the moon landing, the 9/11 truth, Tartaria, and all that other stuff.
oh goodness, you didn't think there was giants in Canada 300 years ago, did you?
No, no, I was a little sus. I was a little sus on that particular one.
Um, so what was the most kind of convincing arguments for you that made it click and think, oh yeah, well this is right.
For me, when I was watching the 200 proofs video, the most convincing one was the famous one with the ship and how they bring the zoom back into focus and they can see the bottom of the ship. And I never even noticed any of that prior to seeing those videos. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, you know how they like talking about the P900 camera and they do their zooms on ships. That's kind of
Yeah.
that's the segment in the 200 proofs that kind of clicked with me was that particular one.
Yeah, I've got a theory that Flat Earth was actually invented by Nikon to sell the P900s.
Oh, they're doing great business. I hear that the P1000 is selling awesome, and it's probably mostly flat earthers that are buying.
I can
I never,
understand.
I never got one myself because I could never afford a camera that expensive. When I looked at Amazon for one, when I was still a flat earther, they're like $800, $900. I'm like, yeah, no, that shit's too expensive. My rent is like almost 2,000.
I mean, they're okay cameras. They've got good zoom, but they don't really have a lot of anything else going for them, in my opinion. They don't have great color gradient, and there's a lot of better cameras that you can get for the same price. But anyway, but yeah,
But
the
that's
Eric
neither
Dubay
for
looking at the ships, that is something in that he's very good at lying about, because he'll say that, oh, Globers say that you can't zoom the bottom back in, but look at this. But it's very convincing the way he does it, but you don't notice until you look at it later that the whole ship is coming back into view at once. So Eric Dubay is definitely one of the big liars. Now you also mentioned Flat Earth Dave. Was there anything he particularly said
Yeah.
that helped you?
Yes. Like I was one of those guys who bought into the lies of Flat Earth Day. I'm sorry to say. I can't believe I was that gullible, but what can you do, right? But
Yeah.
he's definitely one of them sweet talkers, all right. But one of the things that got me when he was doing his whole shtick, like his script he usually does, is the trick that he likes to do with some of his guests, like on his interviews, where he'll have like these red circles. I'm sure you've seen it. And he said, "Do you think that's a circle?" And he flips it over. It's like, "Oh no, it's not." I'm like, "Huh." And then I started thinking about that type of stuff, and that's kind of how I'm like, "Huh, maybe he's right."
He's very good at his script. Very, very good at his script.
You
He's
can
got that
tell
down to a T.
I've been watching him for a long time now, since like maybe 2020. Like I didn't find his videos until like 2020, like a year after becoming a flat earther, because I was watching other guys. I'd never heard of him, and then I saw one of his interviews. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but I didn't discover his videos until like 2020 or something. So like after the years of watching him, I'm like, man, this guy's got this script down pat. I'm sure you could rehearse it in his sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you got into Flat Earth, how did it affect your mental health?
uh, my mental health.
Yeah.
Um, well, for me, I was fairly okay. Um, like it didn't really bother me that much. Like I'm fairly normal. Like I said, I'm not one of those guys that scream up to the rooftop and say that the earth is flat. Like I wasn't one of those morons who got myself arrested. I kept it low key so that way if it was ever proven to be false, I could just go back like if nothing ever happened. At
I
least
didn't
I
say
was
it.
smart. Like at least I was smart enough not to like do that, but because I knew a lot of them did that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make content. I'm not gonna, because I was thinking about making content at the time, like 2020 or something, when I was getting really into it. But I was like, no, maybe I better rethink that and not do that at all, because I've noticed that some of them got arrested, or like Austin. Like I watched a lot of What's It Gets It and Jaronism back then too,
Oof.
and and Austin got arrested a lot. Like I think he got arrested again like a month or so ago. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's
yeah,
certainly good at doing that, getting arrested.
yeah, so I'm like, no, I think what I'm gonna do is like I'm just gonna like let them do that. I'll watch their stuff, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to get canned or something. Because a lot of them did really crazy stuff. Like like one of the ones that I think you shared or someone else shared was the one where one of the flat earthers, I forget his name, was going around with a video camera pretty much looking at people saying, hey, the earth is flat, right? And doing it in front of an elementary school. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
Nathan
I
Thompson,
don't know
stay
if I'm
away from
allowed
those
to swear.
kids.
I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on your show.
Oh
Sorry
no,
about that.
swearing's fine. Come on, you've watched enough of my shows. um,
But yeah, let's just say I wasn't going to get into that. So I kind of, for my better judgment, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to let them carry on. They can do that.
so when
So
you
I,
were a flat earther and you saw that there were flat earthers that got arrested and things like that, what did that make you think about the flat earth as a whole?
um, it, you know what? Over time, it started feeling like that. You know what? I started questioning it like about a year or so ago. like 6 months to a year or so ago, and it's like I'm like, okay, I look back on all these guys I watch, and it's always funny how they always have something to sell you, like Dave with his app, and what's it gets it with his whole
Or-
NASA thing, trying
Yeah.
to force NASA. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing, man? And like Jaren with his whole like crypto thing and whatnot. And
Yeah.
like they always have something. Like I started noticing that and picking up on that, and the biggest contributor of that was Flatter Dave, because he, like, you know how he likes to constantly shill his like
Yeah.
constant, but a lot of the other flat earthers do that too, like What's It and Jaren and some quite a few of the others, and even John Levi, he does that too, like with his coffee and stuff. Oh, I got coffee to sell in the description and whatnot at the end of every video or something. Like I just started noticing, I'm like, huh, are they actually serious about that, or do they just want to sell?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of grifters in there. So when you were a flat earther, did you donate any money to any of these flat earthers? Any live streams? Any merch that you bought? Anything like that?
No, actually, I did not.
Good.
Like I have very little money to begin with because life is so expensive here in Canada. I don't know if you noticed, but the cost of living crisis here that's been going on for the last couple of years makes it very hard to actually do that. Even if you like creators, you don't always get a chance to support the ones you want because the live cost of living crisis is absolutely insane here. And you hear people crying about it on TikTok and stuff like that. It's kind of shameful. But
Yeah.
that's why I have to be extremely frugal with money. So I was never really able to support them.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The cost of living is ridiculous, even over here. A weekly shop for me and my family would normally be 60 to 70 quid, but now it's easily 90 to 100 pound. It's
The only the only thing I ever got from a flat earther was Dave's app, unfortunately.
oofed. Yes, I know.
I actually did buy that, I'm ashamed to say.
I mean, I bought it as well, but because I'm going to be debunking it, I just
Oh,
won't ever turn on the
I'm looking
location
forward
services when I'm using it.
to I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
It's such a bad app. It's so badly designed. I mean, oh my god.
Are
So
you
when,
gonna di-
sorry, go on.
are you going to debunk the whole Iron Republic fiasco that Dave likes to bring?
I'd
I
like
don't
to
know how
debunk most of his points because everything
he
Dave brings
loves
up
making
is so easily debunkable.
he loves bringing up the books in his book section of his app or something. That's one of his favorite books to talk about. And the other one is like the whole airplane thing, but I never bought or done any of that stuff. So I'm like, I don't care.
Good. I'm glad you didn't support too much of the grift. So, when you were a flat earther, and there's a few people in the chat asking this, what were your thoughts on anti-flat earthers such as me?
um, well, to be honest, I didn't really care that much that there were people that were like against flat Earth. Like, I only wanted the truth, and when I found the truth, I kind of switched back to the globe. So that's all I want. Like, I know there are a lot of grifters in the flat Earth movement, but I was never one of them. I had questions and doubts about the ball, but I just wanted actual proof that the ball was true. And when I found out that truth about 6 months to a year ago, I'm like, okay. So that's basically about it. Because like I didn't really, because like the majority of my friends and family were ballers, so why am I gonna hate them? No, of
Yeah.
course not.
Good. That's a good way to think about it because a lot of flat earthers end up losing their families and stuff, like Flat Earth Dave. So, was there anything when you became a flat earther? Was there anything particularly appealing about the flat Earth? Did it give you like special feelings, like you had special knowledge or anything like that? Did it boost your ego or anything like that?
I think so. Like, especially the Tartaria stuff and whatnot. It's like you have like a secret knowledge that most of your friends and family don't know about. But a lot of the times, I think most people keep it to themselves. Like, I kept it to myself because I didn't want anyone else outside of my sphere of influence to think I was insane or something. So I kept it to myself, but I secretly believed it secretly, but I didn't say anything just in case if it were proven to be untrue.
Was there anyone that you confided in?
I had like me and I had a friend in like real life who was a flat earther. He's like a strong Christian type guy. We debated and stuff about certain things because there were some things he agreed with wholeheartedly that about stuff and I disagreed on. So it was like one of those types of things. Like, for example, for me, like one of the other problems that I found with the flat earth community is that for me, I'm Catholic. I don't know if I told you that, but I am. And the flat earthers really hate the Catholics. They absolutely hate them. And
Yeah.
I also tend to use the Dewey Rames version of the Bible, and they hate that. They like, oh no, you're supposed to only use the King James, and I'm like, no, I prefer this
Doesn't
one.
the
So
doesn't the
it's
Dory Rings specifically say that the Earth's a globe?
yes, and that's why they don't like it. Like I've checked a few times and because I haven't read all of it at the time, but I did check. And yes, it's actually one of the far more correct, more accurate versions, but that's probably why they don't like it. When I remember you using the Dewey Rames once in debate with a flat earther, and he really seemed like he didn't say it, but you could tell on his face that he hated you using that particular version when you said it was the Dewey Rames, and I kind of got a little chuckle out of that.
So, how did you deal with the obviously because you said you're Catholic and you follow the Dory Rames version of the Bible? So, how did you match your flat Earth beliefs with your religious beliefs? Because like you've said, the Bible that you read says that the Earth's a globe. So, isn't there conflictions there?
Not really. I never really took the whole flat earth thing from a religious point of view. It was more of like a science point of view, whether or not if the earth was round or flat. Like, as a Catholic, we have certain things that we're allowed to believe as Catholics, and certain things we're also allowed to reject or deny. Like, for example, even though um, most Catholics are Globers. In the Catholic Church, they're actually freely allowed to think the earth is flat or something, or the earth is a ball, or you're allowed to believe that the earth is like 10 billion years old instead of 6. Like in the Catholic Church, we have far more leeway than Protestant super evangelicals do. So we tend to get into a lot of fights. And one of the things that I did not like about the flat Earth community that much is how much they detested Catholics, and it's almost like everything that's gone wrong is like the Vatican's fault or something. So they're basically pretty much crucifying your religion. So I was kind of taken aback at that because it's almost like an attack on me. And I'm like, what are you
Right.
doing? And they
You,
do that a lot because their hatred for the Catholic Church is like, really bad. And I'm like, you guys really
yeah.
got to calm it down. It's like, oh, those evil Jesuits and that they like to blame that one priest who discovered the Big Bang Theory quite a lot. They like to rail on him too. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are not.
Why do you think the flat Earth community has this apparent hatred for Catholicism?
To be honest, I have no idea. I don't know what the absolute hatred is. Um, I've wondered that for the longest time. I think it's because the vast majority of flat earthers do tend to be like radical Protestants for the most part, and how much the Protestants really hate the Catholics. So I think it kind of extends from that, really. At least that's what I think anyway. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what that that's just the only thing I can come up with that would actually make sense for why they hate Catholics so much. Like, I hope I answered that to the best I could, but that's probably that's probably it. Like, they probably just hate it on that basis alone. But I
Would
never
you
really thought of that.
would you agree that there's a bit of a cult mentality within the flat Earth?
Uh, yes, and I've watched some of those videos. I was never able to go to Flattoberfest or something that they have. I remember when I was a new flat earther back in 2019 or 2020 or so. I wanted to, but of course we were locked down and couldn't go anywhere, so I just watched it on YouTube. Like, I watched the Globebusters too, and a lot of those guys went there. And I was like, oh, that would be nice. I wish I could do that, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. But when I saw those videos, it had like a huge cultish mentality behind it. Like when you saw those um Flattoberfest videos, it was like, it was really weird, and only a certain groups of flat earthers were being like paraded on stage, like your usual suspects, like your globebusters, like Bob being the main guy, and what's it,
Thanks,
Jaren, and
Bob.
all those other guys, and everyone else who's just a normal flat earther like myself was just like in the crowd. It had like a huge cult thing going on, kind of like they were going to church or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always thought that flat Earth is very very culty. Right, so you you got into COVID, being locked down and finding it online and being kind of brainwashed by Eric Dubay and others. So what led to your journey of coming back to the globe? Was there something that started giving you doubts?
um yes, I started, it was around 2021, 2022-ish, when your videos started coming into my YouTube feed, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Sorry, that's just what I felt to guy. Like, huh? Why does he have a name like that? My very first thought about you, no offense, was like, why the hell did he name himself? And I just kind of had a good laugh at that. And then I started to see what you were all about, because I only been watching your videos for like about a year now. And I was like, okay, okay, this guy seems pretty funny and whatnot. Like, I watched a lot of your debates with the flat earthers on the Discord, and over time you started to make a lot more sense to me. And I also started to watch Dave McKeegan's videos, and his videos are very more like informative type. He doesn't
Yeah.
usually do debates or something, but I learned a great deal from him, and that kind of helped broke me out of it. I only started recently watching Bob the Science Guy's videos, and I found that he's actually really good too.
Yeah, yeah. Bob's amazing. Dave McKeegan is very very good in what he does. He has spent a lot of time breaking down one particular subject, and he does that very very well. And Bob the
And
Science Guy, he's got an amazing way of explaining things.
and I thought a lot of his debunking of flat Earth videos really helped me come out of it. and I'm just really grateful to him for that. And yeah, and I like your debate videos. I often, when I watch debates, I watch them on Modern Day Debate, the flat versus globe debate that they have on that channel. And
Yeah.
it's usually always what's it gets it versus other people that I'm like, who are these people? I never heard of any of them. But back when I was still a flat earther, watched it and I was like, every time that what's it said that you guys have the burden of proof, I was like, but wait a minute, Austin, don't we have like the minority opinion here? Shouldn't our side have like the burden of proof and actually prove that our side is right? And that's basically what I thought, because he always said that at the beginning of his debates, and I started questioning that, and I'm like, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, Austin doesn't understand maths, English, science, fallacies, tying shoelaces, many things. But Austin, like quite a lot of the flat earthers, is very confident in the way he says things. So much so that you can quite easily fall for it.
And
Um,
that's what happened to me with Eric Dubay, Dave, and Watson. They're so confident in what they say. I can see why there are so many new flat earthers that started coming around in 2019, like I did.
Dave McKeegan's in the chat, and he's very happy to hear that that his videos helped you. It's always good to know that what we do actually makes an impact, and it's good to know that we helped. And I know you weren't a flat earther for an amazingly long amount of time, but it's great. It's great to see how, especially with the conditions we've been living in through COVID, it's so easy to get sucked in.
Yeah,
Do you mind if I
yeah.
ask
I just
what your level of kind of science education is?
oof, my level of science education is actually pretty bad, which is probably the reason why I fell for it in the first place. Like even when I was a younger kid, I was absolutely terrible at math and stuff. I was pretty bad at it. Like the only math skills I have are like the 12 times tables or something. But anything beyond that, like don't ask me. Like I don't know, because my level of education wasn't that great. Like, I dropped out of school when I was younger and just started working for the majority of my life. So, my science level education is pretty low. So, after I started getting out of the flat earth thing, I just started watching like videos on stuff like that type of Dave McKeegan's videos on like actual science and stuff. So I'm like, okay. So I've learned better visually than just writing crap on paper anyway.
It's awesome to know that people like Dave and myself can help in that way. I mean, that's what we want in the long run. The Rocket Couch says, "Do you prefer civil debates or do you like watching the dumpster fires?"
I prefer civil debates myself because I've seen so many debates that divulge into yelling, screaming to the point where you can't even hear other people talk or get their point across when they're just screaming at the other. I'm like, are you serious? You're really going to do that in the middle of a debate? Although, to be honest, there are some debates like that I do like, and that's basically like the kill streams type debates with Ethan Ralph, where he has those blood sports. Sure, that's acceptable there, but on a different type of debate, like modern day debate or something, they're not trying to be the kill stream with
No.
punching each other like he does. Like they're not even claiming to be Ethan Ralph for the kill stream that does that kind of stuff. But when a debate divulges into that kind of thing, even though it's a more structured debate like those tend to be, it can be a real shit show and it kind of turns me off.
Understandable.
And sometimes that happens like within 20, 30 minutes of the stream, and it's like a 3-hour debate.
Patrick Savelis asks, "What are there any other conspiracy theories that you did believe in, or that you still do believe in?"
Well, the biggest conspiracy theory that I do still believe in is the 9/11 truth thing, where I believe that it was an inside job, and I still kind of think that. But yeah, some of the others I kind of gotten over, like Tartary. I don't really believe that anymore because I feel like the way flat earthers believe that is dumb, because I used to believe it too, but they're like, I feel it kind of takes away from the accomplishment of their ancestors by saying someone else made that. Oh, all those beautiful Greco-Roman style buildings and stuff. Oh, they weren't made by your ancestors. They were made by somebody else. And I'm like, that's very disrespectful, I find now.
Right. Okay. Um, so, so there was another question. Doranaku €6 asked, "What did you think of other ex-flat earthers like Seek Truth, Speak Truth, and Ranty? Have they influenced your decisions at all?"
A little, yes. I actually watched your interviews with those guys before, like a while back, like a couple of months ago. I was watching those videos, and I'm like, you know what? I think I should try that too. So I'm here now. So yeah, they kind of helped with my decision to do this today. So yeah, definitely.
Have you had any negative responses from flat earthers or people that you'd met through this now that you're not a flat earther?
Um, well, not really, because I didn't really hang out with a whole bunch of them. Like, I only ever knew them online. I never met any of them in real life. Like, I only knew one flat earther in real life, and that's only because he was a friend of mine. And yeah, so he was the only one that I actually knew in real life, but all the other friends that I made through it were all online, and I never met any of them in person. So I don't really think so. Like, I just don't really talk to them anymore.
That's fair enough. A lot of the ex-flat earthers that I speak to were maybe a bit deeper in it than you were, and they had very negative experiences leaving the flat earth.
I was only in Flat Earth for like maybe 3 years, so I didn't have a whole lot of experience with it. Like, I was hardly ever in the Discords or any of that stuff. So it's like I said, I very rarely care for Discord much. I have Discord, but I use it sparingly. So
Yeah, I understand Discord is mind rot, full of flat earthers. Okay, I think that was all the questions I really wanted to ask you. I guess one of the really important things to ask is, what advice would you give to people that are on the fence about flat Earth?
that are on the fence, huh? Well, for me, like, I just found the truth, and whatever that truth happened to be, whether ball or flat, I just went with it. Like, the big truth that happened for me was actually Bob's laser experiment that he did with the gyroscope, and that's one of the other things that led me away from flat Earth, was
Good
that.
job, Bob.
And yeah, thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob, indeed.
The reason why is because I didn't really fully trust the sciences and stuff at that particular time. So someone else doing the science from our side of the fence really helped with me getting out of it. when he did that experiment himself. And a lot of people in our community know Bob. And I was watching it, and he picked up that wind thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, so it was kind of like a light bulb going off in your mind, like a nuclear explosion or something. Like, oh, okay, so that.
It's lovely to know that one of the reasons you're not a flat earther anymore is flat earthers experiments. That's thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob, indeed. Right. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me. I know that the whole thing, it kind of happened very quickly on and off you over the case of a few years. But I think it's very interesting to see how, especially in the times that we've lived in, being stuck inside, what it can do to us and how easy it is to fall for these things.
Yeah.
Do you feel silly now, realizing that it's not real?
Yes, very much. Like I said to you before, I felt like really stupid falling for like Flat Earth Dave's app and all that other crap, and it just feels like really silly and dumb to me now.
Yeah. Dale McEwen asks, what will you do to prevent falling for other conspiracies in the future?
If I hear other conspiracies, just ignore them. That's
That's
the
a good
best.
idea.
Because
Right.
once you go down one rabbit hole, you find yourself looking into others.
Yeah. And Flat Earth, I always say that Flat Earth is the gateway drug of conspiracies.
Mhm.
Once you believe Flat Earth, it's very easy to believe everything else could be fake. Like, how do you feel about the moon landings now? I know that you questioned it when you were a Flat Earther, but are you on board with the moon landings now?
Mostly, but the things that still bug me about the moon landings is like how fake Apollo 11 actually looked like with the gold paper mache legs and stuff. Because one of the Flat Earth Proofs videos has like images of that. I'm like, that looks like a elementary school kindergarten project or something. Like I could make a better space rocket or something, but I'm still kind of like 50-50 on that. But because I know I've been watching some more videos on it, so we'll
Yeah.
see. Because it looked like, to me at the time, it looked so fake, kind of like India's rocket that crashed into the moon this week or something.
Well, what
Like
you
that,
got,
this
yeah,
the
what you got to remember
CGI.
is that gold foil crumpled up. That was done
Mhm.
specifically so there was more surface area that would be reflecting radiation away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know,
I don't really know the sciences very well, so still have to watch a lot more videos on this subject. But yeah, I'm starting to learn quite a bit more. Like last week, I was watching Dave's video on the whole airplane thing and how it doesn't actually fall off the bloody wall. I'm like, oh,
no.
that was kind of funny because he was debunking like conspiracy tunes or something.
Do you think your your lack of science education was one of the reasons you became a flat earther?
Probably, yeah, like I said before. I'm not very good at the sciences. It's actually my worst subject in school. Like English was my best subject, but science or math was like my worst. Like I'm terrible at math, like I said before. Like I was not my best subject because I kind of struggle with it.
Well, there's lots of help out there, and I would suggest watching a lot of Professor Dave's videos because he's amazing at explaining the sciences. Let me just go through the super chat, see if there's any questions. We've got It's a Rubik's who became a new member. Lovebot gave me who's been a member for 21 months, says beep boop, these hearts are deserved. And you're going to see a lot flying through the screen too. Thank you very much. Jiffy Cones donated 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Jiffy. You are awesome. And then Steps85 gifted 2 memberships. Thank you very much. Arto Ryzen, member for 1 month, says, Yo, I am the Alfafa and the Omegle. I am the Destroyer. Steps85 for €5 says, if you don't have anything sensible to add, you just gift memberships. I really appreciate the support, guys. Amazing. Warboss, my favourite orc in Canada, says, welcome to the winning team. So glad you didn't fall that far down the rabbit hole of stupid. Let's cheer for this Humie. Wah! Well, the orcs seem to like you. That's a good thing. Steps85 for €10 says, I can relate to that. The queue time was challenging. My dad really lost his plot and subscribed to pretty much every conspiracy at the time. I never talked to him since. Oh dear. Present99 for €10 says, to join Flat Earth feels like pissing yourself. At first it's warm and comfy, but it gets cold and sticky soon after unless you keep pissing. I'm glad he stopped. Thank you, Present. That's very good. JSS Tiger for $5 says, I was a 9/11 truther from 2007 to 2011. Time and lack of evidence eroded that belief away. Yeah, and I hope it does for everyone. And Present99 for €10 says, I once repaired an internet error at a flat earther place and did one small thing. I blocked YouTube on his router. Strangely, he never called me again for his problems, ever. I wonder why. Yeah, take YouTube away. That'll stop the flat earth. And then Katiana Verin gifted another 5 memberships. Thank you very much, guys. Your support is incredible. Now, I didn't want to keep this stream too long. I kind of like these interviews to be nice and short and easy to watch. So, Promethean, I very much appreciate you taking the time to come on. And I'm very happy to hear that myself and Dave McKeegan helped you, get away from this horrific cult.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, no, that was great. Well, thank you for your help, definitely. And I definitely learned a lot from your debates. They were also very fun, of you destroying a whole group of them at the same time.
It's always fun.
I always kind of got a laugh at that, but yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you around the channel. Honestly, over the moon that you managed to escape the cult. And thank you for joining me, and I'll speak to you again soon.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, isn't that awesome, guys? Isn't that amazing? I know he wasn't a flat earther very long. He wasn't an important flat earther. He didn't make any content. No one knew who he was. But it's very important to see that it's very easy to fall for it, especially in the world we've been living in. Frankly, I'm sick and tired of living through, historical moments. And COVID was definitely one that affected a lot of people in some horrific ways. Mental health problems and all sorts. And I know a lot of people fell for the flat earth during this time because they're stuck at home with the internet. And, the internet was supposed to be a good thing, but that didn't fucking work out, did it, at all? Vikunuk says, for $6.99 Canadian dollars, you're an inspiration to those who have been desperately trying to find the cure and rid the internet of the Flerfs simple X virus. Way to go, man. I'm glad that I could help. I love doing this because it's a lot of fun. I get to teach in my own special way. You guys love what I'm doing, but it's even more. It's even better when I actually help the flat earthers come away from the stupidity that they managed to fall in. I hope you enjoyed this little stream. Tomorrow I will be back in the asylum and possibly having Kevin on soon, again on Sunday. But the most important thing you guys need to know is that on Thursday I will be having a flat earth discussion with Jeranism. Oh yeah, it's happening. Oh yeah. So that should be fun. Thank you everyone for your support. Thank you everyone for being here watching. I know this is early compared to the things that I normally do. So I very much appreciate you guys coming and watching. And for anyone who's watching later on after the stream has finished, thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please like, share and subscribe to help this get to everyone and see how easy it is to fall for the stupid, but how easy it is to come back around. Pat in the chat, $5. It's easy to fall into a black hole of flat earth once you cross the derp horizon. Glad he was able to crawl himself out. Well, as a celebration, why don't we play some airplanes?
And Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible.
No, I'm Mr. Sensible.
When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere in page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hassle of burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe your musical assault knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realize you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit
Can we
loop short of
pretend
a
that
full bowl.
airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I rit up on your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level. Sit and swivel, you nasal gazing muppet. You can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Thank you everyone for watching today. I will see you back tomorrow. Steph85 for €10 says, I'm really glad today, Craig. Usually you entertain us well making money for your family, but I also learned a lot, and today proves you can bring people back to sanity. Yeah, I'm very, very happy whenever there's an ex-Flat Earther. And I will talk to any ex-Flat Earther, no matter how famous they may be or how unknown they may be. Congratulations, Promethean. Welcome back to the world of sanity. You guys have a good Friday and a good weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the